At this moment in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in 4th place in the Central Division after 8 games skated. Every team in the Central Division has played 7 or 8 games at this point in time. The Nashville Predators have a record of 4-4, and those 8 points have them 4 points behind the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado Avalanche are currently in 1st place with a record of 6-1 and 12 points, losing their last game and no longer being undefeated. The Dallas Stars are in 2nd place with 9 points. The Winnipeg Jets also have 9 points. The Nashville Predators at 8 and 4th place. Minnesota's in 5th with 8 points, and then you'll find St. Louis at 7, Arizona at 6, and Chicago at 6. The Nashville Predators' next game will take place on the road, the opening of the CMA road trip. On the road, the Nashville Predators are 1-2 on the season, and overall in the season, they have scored 23 goals and given up 21 against. The Preds' next opponent, well, happens to be the Vancouver Canucks, the first duplicate opponent on the schedule for the season. It took till Game 9 for the Preds to have duplicate opponents. So let's talk about the Nashville Predators and the Vancouver Canucks. But first, let me set up the entirety of the road trip for you. It will be after the Vancouver game, Thursday in Seattle, Saturday in Edmonton, the 7th of November in Calgary, the 9th of November in Winnipeg, not back home at Bridgestone Arena until November the 11th, when they will face off against the Arizona Coyotes for the first time this season. Now, the Preds and the Vancouver Canucks have played once, and they'll play one more time after this. 3 total matchups in the regular season. Let's go back to October the 24th, with Vancouver defeating Nashville in Nashville at Bridgestone Arena, 3-2. UC Saros, 21 out of 24, took the loss. Thatcher Demko, 16 out of 18, picked up the victory. Sherwood and Sissons picked up the goals for the Nashville Predators, and frankly, it was not one of the Predators' better games of this early season. They will play again on December the 19th when the Nashville Predators will welcome back in the Vancouver Canucks for the final time this regular season. So by December the 19th, these two teams will be finished playing against each other. Now, on the Vancouver Canucks side of things, they have an overall record of 5-2-1. 11 points is good for second in the Pacific, and with the way the Vegas Golden Knights are playing, just being second behind them is not a bad spot to be. They're 2-0-1 on home ice. They've scored 33 goals overall on the season, given up only 19. That's a plus 14 goal differential. That's a highly impressive number for this early in the season. Now, of course, the big wins over Edmonton to start the season are what has inflated their goal scoring for the season. But let's take a look at that most recent sample size of 5 games. So those Oilers games will not count here. Let's go back to October the 19th. It was a 4-3 loss at Tampa Bay. On the 21st of October, a 5-3 win at Florida. And then, of course, on the 24th, as we've already talked about, 3-2 win in Nashville at Bridgestone Arena. On the 27th, a 5-0 win versus the St. Louis Blues. And most recently, a 4-3 overtime loss versus the New York Rangers. It was DeSmith in net for that game, 20 out of 24 taking the loss. Let's talk about the matchups and the NHL rankings between these two teams. In the goals for category, the Nashville Predators 2.88 is 18th, and you know what? 2.88 is not bad overall number, but it's nowhere near 3.88, which is 5th best in the NHL, and that's where the Vancouver Canucks currently find themselves in the league rankings. But the Vancouver Canucks are also doing a good job on the defensive side of things. In the goals against category, 2.38 is 6th best in the NHL. So 5th best in goals for, 6th best in goals against. The Nashville Predators, impressive also in goals against, 2.63 per game, is 7th best in the NHL. So the goals against rankings in this matchup, 6th and 7th overall in the league. In the shots for category, this is something the Preds have been doing very well so far this season, but the number has been dropping. 31.1 now is 16th best in the NHL. The Vancouver Canucks, their number is up since the last matchup with the Preds. 28.3 per game is 26th in the league. In the shots against category, the Preds, another top 10 metric right here. 29 shots against per game is 10th overall in the league, while the Vancouver Canucks are giving up 30.6 shots per game. That is 18th in the NHL. On the special teams situation, the Vancouver Canucks looking good on the power play so far this season. 25.9% conversion rate, 7th overall in the league, 7 goals on 27 opportunities. But the Nashville Predators, due to some recent success on the power play, are pacing not far behind the Vancouver Canucks, and this is good to see for the Nashville Predators. We knew Andrew Burnett was going to come in and make improvements to the power play, and I think we're starting to see that. 23.5% on the conversion rate is 9th best in the league, and the Preds have 8 power play goals on 34 power play opportunities. On the penalty kill, there's a little bit of a different story, and both of these teams are quite near the bottom of the league. Let's start with Vancouver. 74.2% kill rate is 23rd overall. They've given up 8 power play goals. The Nashville Predators, though, at one point did dip to very last in the league, but after last night's action did move up to 31st. 69.2% is 31st, and they have also given up 8 power play goals against. For the Nashville Predators, 2 injuries right now. We're still waiting word on when Shen may be able to return from injured reserve, and also Glass still ruled as out. No time frame at this moment of this recording, at least, for his return. Every team in the NHL has plenty of high-skilled individuals, and we always like to run down the top 5 scorers from each team and give you the goaltending statistics. Let's start on the side of the Vancouver Canucks. All 5 scorers on the top 5 for Vancouver would be leading the Nashville Predators in scoring. It's an impressive start to the season for Vancouver Canucks. Very young team. Pettersson, 2 goals, 11 assists, 13 points overall. Miller's at 4 and 8 for 12. Bosser, 6 goals and 3 assists for 9. Those 6 goals lead the Vancouver Canucks. Hughes at 3 and 5 for 8 out there on the blue line. And Philip Hronek, 0 goals, but 7 assists for 7 points overall. On the Nashville Predators side of the ledger, 7 points is where we pick up the top of the list, and that's Philip Forsberg, 1 goal, 6 assists. That is a very unbalanced line for Philip Forsberg. Usually the balance flips to the other side and it's more goals than assists. So something a little bit different emerging in Philip Forsberg's game in the early part of this season. He may not be scoring at the pace people are satisfied with, but he is putting up points and being effective on the offense. Tommy Novak, all he does is make plays. 4 goals, paces the Nashville Predators along with Ryan O'Reilly. Add 2 assists to Tommy Novak for 6 points. Add 2 assists to Ryan O'Reilly also for 6 points, and they have an exact line right there at tied for second in scoring for the Nashville Predators. Then Luke Evangelista, 1 goal and 4 assists for 5 points. Great to see Luke off to a great start to the season. And the captain, Roman Josi, had been outside the top 5 in scoring, busts right back in. Now his first goal of the season, plus 4 assists, gives him 5 points, makes him 5th overall on the team in scoring. Goaltending matchup, potentially. UC Saros has started all 8 games this season, and I have every reason to believe he's going to start Game 9. His record is 4-4 at this point, a .915 save percentage, 2.49 goals against average, and 1 shutout. Faced his most significant workload of the season in this most recent game that he played. We see that DeSmith got the loss in overtime against the New York Rangers at home in the most recent game on Saturday night. So DeSmith now on the season 2-0-1, a .914 save percentage. Thatcher Demko is 3-2-0 and has a .936 save percentage. Thatcher Demko, of course, got the victory against the Nashville Predators back on October 24th at Bridgestone Arena. Light workload for him in that game, though. Only 18 shots against. He only gave up 2 goals and was strong down the stretch in that game when the Nashville Predators did have their opportunities. First duplicate opponent of the season for the Nashville Predators. It's important. After that, Seattle, Edmonton, also duplicate opponents for the Nashville Predators, to see how Andrew Brunette uses the video from when they lost in Vancouver, to see how the Preds make their adjustments as players, and to see if they can be more successful against this early season success story, the Vancouver Canucks. Listen, there's only 8 playoff spots total available for the Western Conference, and right now the Vancouver Canucks, who are on the outside looking in the last couple of years, are putting up an early indicator that they might be one of those 8 teams. We have a hell of a long way to go this season, but Vancouver has looked impressive so far early in the season, beating Edmonton a couple of times, of course, beating Nashville, and then what they did in St. Louis the other night with that 5-0 victory, going into Florida and picking up a victory. Those are impressive wins for the Vancouver Canucks. Nashville Predators also have some impressive wins, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. We've got to go back and talk about what the Nashville Predators did to close out the homestand before the CMA road trip could get underway. It was the Maple Leafs in town on a Saturday night. It was an earlier start than normal. It was just perfect weather downtown. Everybody in town, between college football, the NFL, and so many other things beyond just the Nashville Predators game. It was a very, very incredible night to be here in the Nashville area. So let's go back and let's talk about it. Let's recap it. It's called the Reverse Sports Full Game Recap, and it's coming up after this.